Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Podcast Pasta. That's a podcast that's like pasta, not the podcast that's about pasta. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and today I'm joined with Juru. You are, from what I could tell, a character artist. You're currently taking commissions. Your work is hosted on Twitter, Blue Sky, and I also believe Tumblr. Juru, how are you doing today?
I'm great. And yes, I focus mostly on characters, but I also do backgrounds and everything.
And okay, so I gave you a very brief introduction, but I guess if there's anything you want to kind of expand on my introduction, I guess you could explain in your own words what you do and what motivates the content you create.
I honestly just draw whatever I like. Like I focus mostly on fan art because animated stuff and shows and movies are the things that inspire me mostly. So I just do a lot of fan art, but I also have some of my original characters and ideas, but I don't know. I focus mostly on other people's work and stuff like that.
Now, on this program, I've had like a few artists, come on here, and usually they are of like different backgrounds. Some people have studied art, in a collegiate setting, while others have pursued it as kind of more of a hobby. So I guess to kind of get more of a background on you, what is your background in art? Is it something that you like studied in school, or did you just pick this up as like a hobby?
Well, I have always drawn. I have always enjoyed animation, so it's like something I don't even think about. It's like something I do every day. But I've actually done just finished my first semester in art school here. But it's something I do more for fun than to actually because the education is not that great, I would say, where I study. So I just do it for fun and to find friends, artist friends, right? um but mostly I know I've taught myself, and it's not really a hobby because it's I do it for a living too, with the commissions and all. But yeah, I've always drawn since I was a little kid, and now I just started art school.
Right, yeah, because I always get like kind of a very mixed reaction to a lot of artists in terms of like should the question of should you go to art school, and a lot of I think responses I've gotten have been kind of similar in a line to you, where it's not so much about the education, but rather it's like building the connections like with other artists and kind of like networking in that way.
Right. Just for fun, really.
So I guess going to art school then, like what do you see as like the long term goals, like post like you finishing art school? Like how do you see yourself kind of expanding your artistic career?
Well, I probably work freelance, like I'm doing right now, but I would really start doing animations. And also, a dream of mine is being a comic artist, like for the big publishing companies like Marvel, DC, whatever. I would really like that. I enjoy comic art a lot. And just materializing my own ideas, like for comics, just for fun, to draw my comics, my one shots, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was about to say that I got kind of that like Western comic style influence in a lot of your work, and it's actually going to lead me to my next question. In that, how did you, I guess, kind of set, because different artists have of course like all different types of style, and I guess I'm always curious, like how did you settle on like the style that you draw in, like characters and stuff like that?
I don't feel like I've settled. Honestly, I'm open to experimenting. But I guess for commissions, I do like to keep more or less consistent style. But I really, I don't know. I just see stuff I like, and I just like copy or steal it or steal it from those people. Like I just started doing a lot of ink work with a lot of black, like black shading, and that's obviously from American comics and stuff like that. So I basically just took it from that. But I'm totally open to changing my style or whatever. I never really considered art style something that important. I just feel like people give too much importance to art style when I think experimentation is that much more important.
I see. I see. Um, so from what I could tell, like you said, a lot of your work right now is done like, commission based work, but you said that you also have like OC, like original characters that you have done some work on. I guess is there anything that like what is the big thing that I think is preventing you from like doing more work, more like art pieces with your OCs?
Honestly, time. Like, I'd rather just dedicate my time to making these art pieces from like shows or movies or whatever because they're gonna call the attention of more people in social media, therefore giving me more work. Um, and than dedicating so much time on something I obviously enjoy, but it's not gonna give me like a reward. And also, I just need attention in social media and commissions for a living, right? So I'd rather dedicate my time to stuff like fan art and commissions than my own stuff.
Makes sense. Yeah, that's also kind of a consent. Like I know that's always kind of a thing with social media is that like usually traffic is driven more towards fan art and it's harder to sell. Not impossible, but it's harder to sell people on like original characters, original concepts like that, unless if the character just really hits the ground running when it's introduced to the public. But even then, um, so
Right. And the artists I see that center on OC, I really don't know how they do it. Like, it's so hard. When I post something that is not like fan art, really no one cares about it. So I just keep doing fan art.
yeah, it's rough. Like I get that idea, right? But I guess so. With you taking on like how much commission work do you take? It seems like you're constantly pumping out like commission pieces.
I honestly just take whatever, like anything that is not like really weird stuff. I just draw whatever people are gonna pay me for it. Like I don't really mind. I'll draw whatever.
Well, okay, so like how many pieces do you think you let's say get commissioned in like let's say a day or so?
That many. Like I don't think people commission me every day. Like I would say like a week, maybe 2 or 3 commissions.
Oh, okay. That's not bad. No, it just seems like you're very consistently putting out work. I was just very impressed myself.
Thank you.
Um so I guess long term you want to you see yourself kind of working in like the comics industry, maybe working with like larger publishers like Marvel and DC. What do you think
Right.
are because I'm kind of familiar like most of my work here has been talking with like independent artists. I haven't had the chance to talk with somebody that has worked with those larger companies. So I'm not necessarily sure. Like, what are some big hurdles that you see when trying to work with companies like Marvel and DC? I have some ideas. Like, I think one is the problem of the difficulty that you don't like once you're employed with them, you don't necessarily own like what you create. It's automatically forfeited to them, under like intellectual property or I don't know if intellectual property is the right word, but it's automatically forfeited to them when you create with them. So, are there any other hurdles that you foresee like that with working with a larger company like that? Larger companies like that?
Honestly, just money because I don't think there. I mean, being a freelance artist is not like it's gonna make you a millionaire, right? But you could dedicate your life to commissions, and I think you would do better. Like I heard people working for DC or Marvel, like they pay them for covers to the comics, and they only pay them like $400, which is a lot for me. But it's still not like livable. So I don't know. Maybe also the country I live in. Maybe I don't know if I can work from here. Maybe I have to be from America or move there or whatever. I'm really not sure, but the geographical thing is also like I think about a lot because I'm not from America.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I had no idea about that. Um, but I guess so. Okay, hypothetical. Let's say in the future you are able to work for Marvel or DC. Are there any like properties in particular that you want to like do artwork for? Like, are there any properties that you're pining for right now?
My favorite or the character I like the most from Marvel is Deadpool. I think I read some like one Deadpool comic. I'm also not that much into comics because I also don't have time to read all that much. But Deadpool is just sounds really fun to me. Like I know I've done a lot of Deadpool fan art. I've watched all the movies. I really like Deadpool. I don't know. I just think Deadpool comics are fun.
Well, I also noticed you also do a lot of fan art of Hobbs Spider Punk from particularly his iteration in oh my god, Beyond the Spider Verse, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I love him. He's kind of my one of my favorite characters ever from anything. I just love him.
Yeah, and I think the piece that okay, for context for my listeners, obviously I kind of make my own thumbnails, and one of the pieces that we were discussing about using, I think, was like a gender swapped hob,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah, but
I don't
unfortunately,
know.
I think it was too spicy for YouTube because I don't know what their rules are for like girls in bikinis. It's like you could
Right.
kind of, but I don't know. I'm sorry, I couldn't risk it. So.
It's just like I imagine him as a girl with being like really tall and skinny, like a high fashion model, and that just inspired me to like dress him up in that kind of not that modest of an outfit. But I just think if he was a woman, he would dress like that. Like he wouldn't care. I
Oh
also
no,
have
yeah,
a
it's
classmate that kind of looks like her, and she inspired me too.
yeah, it's very much in character. It's a great piece. If any of my listeners definitely like absolutely check out your work, but check out that piece in specifically. Um, uh,
Right.
but no, I guess what was I gonna say? Um, so we have okay, so I guess throwing out like I guess another hypothetical. Let's say for whatever reason, like you're not necessarily able to work with DC and Marvel. Do you see yourself continuing to work as just a freelance artist until something comes up, or like what would be your plan if you're not able to work for like the comics industry in the way that you want to?
Sure, I see myself working freelance. I don't know. I see a lot of people that make a lot of money. Basically, just live of drawing. I just want to become as good as I possibly can, so people can reject me because that's literally my plan. I just want to become good, so I'm like undeniably good. Like I just want to become really technically good in everything, in everything that I can.
Um, kind of as like an off tangent because I was reminded with the whole Hob gender swapped piece, but I noticed this kind of interesting trend where a lot of artists are kind of into like fashion, right? And I don't know
Yes.
if I kind of get that vibe from your work because a lot of your characters are very like fashionable with what they wear and everything like that. Am I on the mark?
Right. I honestly just spent a lot of time staring at people's outfits in Pinterest or in Instagram, or I just really like playing fashion dolls with my drawings and stuff. Sometimes I see clothes that inspire me and I just have to draw them. So yes, I'm also very into fashion myself. Like I don't post pictures of myself, but I try to dress cool or whatever in real life.
Right. So you would say you're also very fashionable yourself.
I don't know if I would say that myself, but yeah, I try to.
Yeah, I get you. I get you. No, it's because like with my own like style, for example, like I don't consider myself an artist. Like the only extent I do with art for myself is thumbnails or if I have to occasionally design a podcast element for like my video sections. But at least for my aesthetic, I
Right.
guess it's like conveyed more that I'm not very fashionable. That I prefer like kind of uglier aesthetics. I'm very much a brutalist kind of guy when it comes to like
I get
my
it. I get
look and
it.
my vibe. Um, but
It's cool too. Brutalism is cool to me. Like I don't know, it seems kind of I don't know. It's kind of terrifying when you look at brutalist building or whatever. But it's really cool. I don't know. It seems from like a video game or something.
yeah, I think it always like I get why it has its like criticisms. It's associated with I guess I think a darker part of history because if I'm remembering my architecture correctly, brutalism is associated a lot with like Soviet Union
Communism?
architecture and like
Sí, sí, sí.
aesthetics and stuff like that. But no, I still I don't know. I
I
still kind of
just
like it. I think it's interesting and it's very evocative of a certain like feel and certain aesthetic style to it.
Right. I'm just thinking about those statues, like those ginormous statues that I think are in Russia. Like, is the man and the woman holding like I forgot how those are called in English, but like in the Soviet flag, there's like two tools that the farmers use. I don't remember, but those statues are so kind of terrifying, but
Oh,
so
the like
cool at the
hammer
same
and
time.
sickle.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sickle. Yeah. Um. So one question, my listeners know this question all too well, but if anybody that are fans of you coming onto the show, I like to try and do a little segment here where you know there's not really much of a cross audience between what you do and what I do. I'm a podcaster, you're an artist, and so I don't know how many fans of your work are necessarily going to come here to listen to this episode. So I guess with that in mind, what is a hot take that you think that you have that you don't think you would really talk about in any other setting that you would feel more free to talk about here? Because keep in mind, not a lot of people are going to listen to this. Let's be real here. So yeah, give me your hottest take. Go for it.
Oof. Let me think. I guess art is not that special. So many people have it to be. Like I just see art as like a job, like any other. I don't think art is really that special. But I could think of something more interesting. Like I don't know. I just think that when people when I say I'm an artist, I'm saying like, oh, I'm an artist. I'm like Da Vinci or whatever. But I feel like I'm kind of a loser. Like I don't think I have a real job or anything.
So for you, it's just like a skill equivalent to like how like an HVAC technician doesn't really think too much about like what they do. It's just like a job to them.
Right. I think anybody could do what I do. Like if everyone spent the amount of time I've spent practicing, I think just anybody could be an artist. Really, I don't think I have or any artist uh, has anything special. I don't think talent really exists. I just think is if someone spends a lot of time in something, they're eventually gonna be good at it.
Kind of see that. I think, well, at least I guess my take on that is more so that like a lot of people I think have art like artistic ability. I think it's partly a matter of finding like a medium that works for you. It's like so, for example, I don't know, not to toot my own horn. I like my thumbnails, um,
Right.
but it's a very
Right.
particular
They're really
style.
cool. They're really cool.
Oh, thank you. But no,
Kind of minimalist too. Like they don't have much text, but they just are cool by themselves. Themselves. Sorry.
no, no, yeah, you're good. No, it's yeah, but it's like a very particular like aesthetic style. Whoops, that I try and like go for.
Right.
With like my thumbnails, like trying the whole vaporware thing, but a lot of that is very particular to how I create thumbnails. And I don't like the very clickbaity type where it's like text and it's like the red circle, like, what did he find here? Or
Right. Right.
is he insane? Or something crazy like
I
that.
just think people's attentions is like so limited. You should only have like one point in like something visual. You should only have one spot where people are gonna look into, because someone is just gonna look at whatever you post for like 1 second or 5 seconds if they really care, but they're just scrolling, and you have to get their attention as fast as you can, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I mean that's why there's always that temptation to go more clickbaity, even if like, the thumbnail's ugly or like I hate to
Right.
always use this as my example, but like Mr. Beast, with like the weird
Right.
like I
It's
don't know
just
what I
weird.
swear I don't know what he does with his
And
thumbnails. Like
the things he does to his high. I'm speaking so bad right now, but the things he does to his face or his eyes is so weird. Like he looks AI generated.
yeah, or like it's like insanely photoshopped. I hate his thumbnails, dude. Like when he did that whole initiative, like, oh, he's wanted to do like an AI uh generator for thumbnails. It was just basically like you could put your face over like pre-made thumbnails or something. It was like all of them were so ugly.
Right, and he said now that he's gonna hire actual artists, and I think that's cool. But it's kind of shitty that he did it in the first place.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like I would tell people from the onset that like it's not that hard to make your own thumbnails. Granted,
Right,
it might not look amazing, but at least like through time you could develop like your own style, and it would be like not all my thumbnails are hits, right? Sometimes I don't know what I'm doing, to be honest.
right.
But
It's
you
just like
know,
people are so scared to pick up a pen. It's not that hard, really.
yeah, or like yeah, exactly. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's Are there any dream collaborations that you'd want to do? Like anybody that you would want to like potentially work with on like a piece or something like that?
I don't know if this is like a valid answer, but Gerard Way, the singer from My Chemical Romance, is also a comic writer, and I've read some of his comics. Like I've read the Killjoy stuff. Like he did, it's a concept from his band, and also like two comics, and I've read those, and I just think they're really cool, and I would die if some way someday I could draw something for him. Like, it's really just me dreaming, but I would really like to work on something with him because I just like him so much as a person. Like, he's so talented in everything he does. He's a writer, he's an artist, he's a singer, songwriter. Like, I just admire him above everyone else, really.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, I know one thing, I guess, kind of, you did remind me that some artists like to do is that, in addition to doing art, they also like to do like their own like comics, right? Where they, write, do the paneling and everything like that. Is that something that you would ever see yourself doing as like a way to kind of expand on like your
Yeah.
work and your career?
Yeah, but writing is so intimidating for me because I know the first things I'm gonna write are gonna suck, and I know I'm gonna get better with time because that's what happens with everything you practice. But it's just intimidating. I'm scared. I'm like, I see the blank page or whatever, and I maybe have an idea, but I don't know how to materialize it into words. I'm just really intimidating about writing, but it's really is a big dream of mine. I always say I'm gonna do it, but I haven't done it yet. But I'm gonna do it. I promise.
No, it's I mean, yeah, it's either that or you kind of go God, what was the manga? I think it was like Gone or something, like the little dinosaur where it's a whole comics it's well, not comic series. It's a whole manga series, but it's completely silent, so it's like there's no dialogue and everything's just conveyed through like facial expressions or like the motions of the characters. And I could see why that's not really done that often, is because that's a lot harder to convey certain ideas without dialogue. But I think I would always like to see that more, like a comic with like no dialogue, where everything is just conveyed visually through like the characters and their actions.
Right, that just seems like so hard. You have to be like an insanely talented person to pull that off, I think. But I'm reminded of stuff I watched as a kid. Like, there will just be silent. I think stop motion or 3D about like a witch or about like a monster in the woods, and I would really enjoy that. I don't know, but I think it's really hard if it's like you don't have like that, like a whole medium is taken away from you, like the medium of words. And I just feel like if writing comics is hard, writing comics without any dialogue is like much harder, like impossible. But I think some people can pull that off if they try really hard to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you have a similar problem with like film too, where that's why like the silent film era is like so interesting in the fact that like,
Right.
well, I mean, even the silent film era though, there were like they had
It
like
had
film
text and
showings where they were
music.
like playing music and stuff live.
Right.
So even then they were working with sound, but yeah, like yeah, I think it's fully. I think it's possible. I think. Oh God, what's his name? I can never say his name. Dennis Villeneuve. Oh, I can't say his name. He directed Dune, and he was talking about an idea like, oh, one of these days I want to make a movie that's just completely silent, like but in the modern era, and that's purely like a visual spectacle. And I think
That
that would
would
just be
be
a
really
really
cool.
cool idea. But hey, if there's anybody
But
that could pull off a comic without dialogue, I believe it's you.
thank you. Thank you for believing in me.
Um,
Um
oh, sorry,
I
guys.
don't I also feel like with a silent movie in 2025, or also how many people are gonna actually watch it, because that's also important. Like, who's gonna invest in a movie that's completely silent? Like, I'm not saying I'm not opposed to it, but I'm just thinking practically, you know. Really, who's gonna invest in that? Even if it's really cool, like Hollywood is not really easy industry, you know.
Yeah, like you have to be a mad crazy talent to even like approach somebody with the idea of it.
Right,
But
or someone who's really rich themselves and can pay for that movie out of pocket, like doesn't need a big company sponsoring them to make a movie.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, so I always I don't know if this is necessarily like a good question to ask artists. I always ask it all the time, but it's like to me it's like going up to a cook and asking if they could farm. But one idea that I always kind of ask artists about is that I know sometimes as a means of like making money or as sometimes as a means of like building a community, artists tend to like stream their process, stream their like, creative process on like Twitch, YouTube, what have you. Is that something that you would ever be curious to do yourself?
Yes, actually, one of the things that most inspired me when I first started was speed paints on YouTube. I just thought of them like the coolest thing ever, you know? Like, nothing,
Yeah.
thing. The coolest thing ever because, I don't know, they just always were play cool music and I could see the process of my favorite artist and I just search on YouTube like speed paint and watch them all. I'm really interested in that. I tried before to record my process, but the work, you know. I even downloaded OBS Studio a long time ago because I wanna do it, but I don't know. It's also a matter of time and stuff like that. Just like writing comics is something I wanna do. So thank you for reminding me. I want to record my process and post it on YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, right now I'm using OBS Studio to record this episode, so shout out to OBS.
Okay. You can
Um,
believe it's for free. It's a really good program for free.
so I know, what's the other one? Streamlabs, I think, is built off of like, I guess the backbones of OBS. I know some people prefer Streamlabs because of the, at least from what I've heard, it's more user friendly. I don't know how true that is. I've just been used to OBS because it was the first one recommended to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Programs being free is a big thing for me because I don't have a lot of money. So I
Yeah.
use open source as much as I can. Like to draw, I use Krita, which is open source, and it's basically the same as Photoshop. You have the same, almost the same view. I don't know how to say that in English. The same interface.
Yeah.
It's really
Interface.
similar
Hmm.
to Photoshop.
Um, well, that's actually kind of interesting because I thought, like, because you said you use like open, like more open source tech for like your like art program, right?
Right.
Right. Yeah, I was surprised because going to like art school, would they not provide that for you, or is it just something that you is it more of a preference for you?
No, the way I just think you're used to the education in the US. You're from the US, right?
Yes, I am.
Well, as I said before, the education where I study is not that great. Like I just do this for fun. They really don't teach you anything about digital art. At least in the semester. Um, it's just really basic stuff and like art. How do you pronounce that? Theory?
Yeah, yeah, theory. Yeah.
Okay, art theory and other like text-based assignments and stuff like that. It's really not that great, so I don't think they're providing me Photoshop any. Uh, I don't think they're gonna be providing us with Photoshop really.
Yeah, I mean that might be kind of a blessing in its own right because I know,
It
like
sucks.
Photoshop, like the whole Adobe suite of like creative products is terrible. Like, for example, I know the big one here is, oh my, what is it? I think it's for like video editing. It's, I think Premiere is like Adobe's product for that. And I would never recommend that to people. Like, for my own videos, I use DaVinci Resolve, which is like free. You get like a lot of really good tools. Anything that you don't have, you could supplement with like plugins and stuff like that. And
Right,
but I know
I
a lot of
know
schools like to
about Da
promote
Vinci.
like Photoshop and stuff like that, even though they're like kind of bad.
I think that just because they're so prominent in the industry, people are like scared to change. But also, you have to learn if you want to work in the industry, because sometimes it's a requirement for like animation work. If you want to work in a studio, you have to know Photoshop and Adobe stuff. So I just think they're really prevalent in the industry, and that's because people use them so much, not because they're very good, because they're not.
Yeah, yeah, it's very unfortunate. I think. Um, but I guess okay. This might be kind of like an offside question. Um, but you are bilingual, correct? Or I don't know if you're trilingual. Like, how many languages do you speak in general?
Yeah, bilingual. I speak Spanish and English. I would really like to learn Japanese because I'm a weeb. And also, I would like to learn Portuguese because I want to someday move to Brazil, because it just sounds really cool. I would like to go as an exchange student to Brazil.
Yeah, I studied a little Portuguese in college, not anything to really speak it, but yeah, I did enjoy it a little bit more than Spanish personally in terms of like the pronunciation.
It's cool. My first language is Spanish. It's just not to everyone's taste. And I just know
Spanish
in
is
the
fine. It's
US,
just I can't like roll my R's to save my life.
right?
Yeah,
Like me speaking English like the word girl is really hard to pronounce. You really, for a non-native speaker to roll your tongue like that is really hard.
yeah. Um, but I guess I want to kind of ask because I always tend to ask bilingual people this, but like, what language do you think in? Like, if you're talking to yourself in your head, what language do you tend to think in?
That is actually a big problem for me, because I I'm kind of embarrassed, because in Spanish, that is my first tongue. I've never been to the US. I sometimes I can think of the words in Spanish, and so I have to say it in English, and I just feel like people think I'm bragging that I know English, but it's really because I can think of the words. So I don't want them to think like, oh, you think you're from the US, like you think you're gringa. That's what they say, you're gringa. So I don't want it to think like I'm something I'm not.
Right, I gotcha. Okay. Um, so I guess um, if you were to uh, because I know like we talked about, you mainly do character art yourself. Um, if you were to have to
Right.
expand into doing um, like potentially comics or even like larger pieces and stuff like that, would you have to because I know like some artists kind of are like a jack of all trades. They do character art, but they also do backgrounds. They do like writing if they do their own comics, what have you.
Right.
Animation sometimes too. But if you were to have to like kind of branch out uh, in building in like making comics or whatever, would you have to for yourself? Would you have to hire like a background artist or like any other like positions like that to like fill the gaps of what you might be lacking in your own expertise?
Like I've said before, anything you practice in my mind, I think you can do it. So maybe I'm not that good at backgrounds, but I know if I look into backgrounds, I can do it. So if I ever do my own comics, I'm probably just doing them by myself, because I'm also just want to have fun, and I'm not that good with working with other people, like in academic settings or in personal settings. I'm not that good with people. So I would like to just write my own stuff and draw my own stuff. Except, if I if I drew for someone else, like I've said before, um, as a comic artist, you do have to learn to work with people. Like in American comics, usually there's a person who only does the sketches, another person who does the backgrounds and stuff. And so you have to learn how to communicate and how to work with other people. So it's kind of a necessity. But I can work with that, If I have personal projects, I would like them to be just me.
I mean, you're working with me now, so I don't think you're that bad working with others.
It's because you're cool. You're
Ah,
you're
thank you.
chill.
um, I guess to understand you a little bit more, when you're not drawing, what do you tend to do as like a pastime?
Oh, well, I watch a lot of YouTube, which is kind of a bad habit of mine. Like I waste a lot of time in YouTube. I watch shows. I play video games sometimes. I read. Um, what else? I don't know. I like to study a lot. I like school. Kind of my hobby. I like to cook. That's also my hobby.
Very cool. Any video games that you're getting through right now?
Undertale and Disco Asylum. But
Uh,
I haven't played it in a long time because time. But I plan to go back to them when I have time.
yeah, I tried. Not that I hate it. I tried getting into Undertale a little while back ago, but it was I don't know. I saw that I got a vibe that it was going to be very time consuming. I don't know how long it actually takes to like beat the game. I can't remember, but I just got swept up in other things. Seemed like a very cool concept. I know this isn't promoted episode or anything, but I think like Deltarune also recently came out.
Yes, yes. I honestly, because if I see cool fan art of stuff in Twitter, I'm gonna want to play it. I see so much Deltarune fan art and Undertale fan art and Disco Asylum. There's a specific artist who does some insane Disco Asylum illustrations. Also, the art in the game itself is crazy. Disco Asylum is so good. It looks awesome. So I just wanted to play it, and it's really funny too. It has really good writing.
Oh yeah, I've heard nothing but like amazing things about Disco Asylum. Um, I
Right,
I always get close to buying it, but then there's always like something else I either want to buy or have to buy. Like I'm playing through Lies of P right now, and I'm kind of having fun with
right.
that. Yeah.
Because
Um.
games are so expensive, so you kind of have to choose.
Oh yeah, yeah. You got to or wait for the Steam summer
Sale.
sale, which is going on right now. I swear this episode is not sponsored, guys. This is all just coming up to my head right now. Um. But I
um,
guess so with a lot of well I guess for anybody that has listened to this episode and maybe you've come across our work from Juru, if they want to commission you, basically go ahead and take this time to like shell yourself out. Like how much does it cost for commission? What's your usual turnover rate? Just basically sell yourself to the listeners right now.
oh my god! Hi, I'm Juru. My commission. Well, I charge for a full body $50. Um, you can really just commission me whatever you want. I always say when they ask me like my do's and don'ts, I just say probably just no hateful stuff and like no really weird stuff. Like I don't know if I can say that in YouTube, but I'm not gonna say it. But you guys know what I'm talking about. Like
Say it in
we're
Spanish. Maybe you get away with if you say it in Spanish.
yeah, yeah, fetiches. Like
Yeah, I
it's
don't know what
really
that is,
weird.
YouTube, so it's not on me.
No hateful stuff, and also no, Japanese stuff about little children. No, nothing of that. Nothing of that nature.
Yeah, characters
No,
over 18. Come on, guys, you know better.
right. No little children. So that's basically it. For backgrounds and stuff, it basically just depends on complexity. But I would say my commissions are very well priced. Like I don't think they're very expensive. Um, if you want to commission me, just text me over on Twitter or on Discord. My username on Discord is also Jururenu. So just text me and we chat and you tell me what you want and I'll do it.
That's right, listeners. You better commission her because I know you're not giving me money. Um, but
And they should.
I mean, no, don't sweat it. I like kind of being in some ways, I kind of like being a bit of a free program. I don't know.
Right.
I've had this conversation before on the show.
It's your hobby, right?
Yeah,
Or
I mean, it would be
would you like
nice
it
to
to
get
be
paid
like
for it
your
because
job?
I need money.
Right.
But it's not the end of the world for me if I don't. Like right now, I'm in a
Right.
decent situation where I don't have to be paid for it. But you know,
Right.
um,
It's cool that you're so dedicated to it. Like I don't know, it feels like you're passionate about it. Like you post a lot of videos and stuff.
yeah, I mean, God, I've been doing this for. I think this is like my 5th year doing this. I started in 2020.
That's really
Um,
cool. Like because of the pandemic, you were like bored and wanted to, or
yeah. No, it was kind of a something to just kind of something to do, something to like develop out my skills. And I like
right,
talking about media. Like talking about media, and eventually I started doing like interviews because I liked uh,
right.
kind of
It
like
was really unexpected when you texted me. Like I didn't expect someone to want to do an interview with me. It's really cool what you do. I
yeah,
feel
think
like as smaller artists, it feels awesome to have like this kind of stuff. This kind of stuff for us to talk.
yeah, I know. Yeah. Like I imagine it probably came off as like I don't know if it filtered through spam on like Twitter X or whatever. I don't know if it filtered through spam as your DMs because I'm having that problem with my emails. So I'm having a harder time
Right.
emailing people. That's why I have to use like Twitter to talk to people
Right.
for that.
I kind of raised an eyebrow like maybe this is kind of weird stuff, but I'm happy it wasn't. I'm happy I get to do it and be on your podcast.
Well, thank you, and you were an absolute pleasure to have. We are approaching kind of near the hour mark. Usually, my interviews last around an hour. Thank
Right.
you for anyone who stopped by to listen this far in. Juru, if you want to shout out where people can find you, where people can find your work, just one more time.
Right. You can find me mostly on Twitter or X. I'm most active there. You can text me over on Discord. You can follow me my blog on Tumblr, which I only do for fun really, and my Instagram, my Blue Sky, and that's basically it. I'm Jururenu everywhere.
All right, and thank you all again so much for joining us. And Mason, you gotta wake up. We gotta find out what those numbers are about. All right, take care, everybody.